So this supposed jury.
All right, guys, thanks for coming to the Comics Review. We've got, introduce yourselves.
Jeff Kaufman, the writer for Totem.
All right, guys. Well, everyone knows Ant, I'm sure. Everyone's seen it. But for those that haven't, let them know a little bit about what it is and what the book's all about.
Ant is about an urban hero who wakes up in the mental institution and realizes he was once one of the greatest heroes the world has ever known. He finds a way back to becoming, anarchy, fighting, villains, and going to the urban situations of how to pay rent versus how can I handle smoke.
I noticed that now you're starting to go back in your most recent books. You're starting to go back and plant some of the history into the image field of things. What brought that on?
Honestly, it's the whole idea of when Tommy finally left, Marvel and decided he wanted to do his own thing. I can relate to that because I always felt that I was, I always felt that I had these ideas and I wanted to express these ideas. I didn't want to necessarily be, one of those guys who was looking for on other people's projects. And, that's the reason why I kind of figured, Ant to them. Because I always felt that if there was any home that was exist, I'd probably been good at, at these comics. That's where I got my inspiration from. I'm trying to incorporate that home. We're having a team of small, Savage Dragon. I'm trying to intertwine her in that universe because, me and Jeff believe that a universe is important for characters.
All right. Well, in a con exclusive, we've got here the very first look at the book Totem. Tell us about it.
Totem is an easy concept. Totem had to be a superhero that made sense to us. The basis of every superhero is why do they do something. It's not what their superpowers are, but what compels them to use their powers and put themselves on the line on a day-by-day basis. So we had to come up with a way that kind of forced people to do it. In this case, our main character, Ian, is he's a 17-year-old guy, and the fact is that his parents were drug dealers. And they died in Colombia about 5 years earlier, and they weren't bad enough to go to hell. They clearly weren't good enough to go upstairs. So the people in purgatory have decided to bestow powers upon the children of these people, and how they use those powers will determine if their parents go to heaven or hell.
All right. When's the book going to be coming out?
The book will either be in the October or November preview guide, and it'll be coming out in December or January, followed by our second book, which will be Tempest.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yet
another exclusive. Oops.
Now that you're working as a complete team on the Totem books, what brought you guys all together? What made it click for you?
Can I have that one?
Yeah.
Take it. First of all, I've been a one-man show for a while, and you don't realize how easy not being a one-man show is until you're not one anymore. Basically, I met Jeff at the convention. We just clicked, and put our heads together, brainstorming. And we like comic books, comics. But by Jeff writing and me actually just doing pencils on the book, he's doing inking. It's like a movie. It's so easy. The pages come so easy. It's like do these pages, send them to Jeff, and Jeff said, "Wow." It's just like it comes out of my. That's it. That's great. It feels so natural, and that's the way to explain it. It's like not an exaggeration either. It just feels natural. It's cool.
I've been fortunate enough to interview writers and inkers and everything for a book we were doing. It's an academic book called The Comic Bible. And after meeting many hundreds of artists and writers and inkers and pencilers, I've discovered that the relationship has to be what's important. You have to be able to respect the person you're working with and understand that maybe he can help you out with what you're doing. If you think that everything you know is 100%, you're not going to get the best out of your writer, or the best out of your penciler, or the best out of your inker, or the best out of your letterer. You need a team, and you need to have faith in each other. If you don't, You're going to put out a product that could have been better.
Yeah, we want to see how it looks.
This is first inning game. How he broke in, ladies and gentlemen, been very persistent. I talked to him, give him critique for his work. Actually comes back and do better work. And, that was it. Called him up one day. It was that phone call. Ready to go to work. He's ready. And also, came above and beyond the call.
Awesome.
Tony K, don't forget it. Tony K.
The next Townsend, I am.
Well, what would you guys like to tell everyone out there that in the comics industry, exactly why they should be buying Ant and Totem over, say, Civil War and 52?
Okay, first off, we love Civil War, we love 52, they're great artists and writers. In reality, the poster itself should say it all. It's kind of like our personal joke. You can't sit on a roof and wait for crime to happen. You have to live a life, and it has to be a life that makes sense to your readers. And that's what we're doing. Every conversation, every relationship is going to be focused on what's logical, what happens, what's our world in. Our world is the real world, even though weird stuff happens in it. But it'll be understandable, and nobody's going to ever say, well, I don't buy that. So,
And for Ant, you know what? This is what I tell people when they ask me that same question. I'm expressing myself through my art. You know what? Sometimes my expression might not be what you think is good or bad. Honestly, I think that all comic books should be promoted. Because in this industry, I believe that by people saying buy my comic book, not buy his comic book, you're gonna lose somebody. And I think that's why when I do stuff with that, when I have the comic book on the statue, and when I have other characters in my book, of course it's only image, but that's the studio. If I was at Marvel, I'd do the same thing. When Ant was at Marvel, I'd be having Spider-Man in the background, and stuff like that, because it's the promotion of all comic books. I think it's gonna make this better. Not just saying, hey, buy Ant because I think she's better than that book or that book. I kind of think that's not being real.
there was a scene in the 9/11 book, I believe the Spider-Man book, and I'll never forget it. I'm sorry, the writer and the artist did great work, I just don't remember. It's after he's been working on it for like 24 hours. And, the police are sitting next to the fireman, he's wanted. And he's sitting there with his head in his hands, wondering how this could have happened. That's the way you react to things like that. That's a real emotion. And I'll never forget that page. And I think that really pushed me towards writing better, writing more real. And that page alone, you only wish it existed in every... You only wish that existed in every book that was out there. And there are some books, sometimes books are meant to be just fantasy. But we would like to put out a book and a line of books that people will respect. And if you buy it, you'll buy Totem. You'll buy, since I said Tempest, I'm not going to mention the fourth book out.
You know what? You might not like it. That might not be your thing. You like Totem. It's not your thing. You like the other book. You don't like that? You know what? Buy something.
All right, guys, one last question. We ask it of everybody. Mario, you've been asked this before. Your drink of choice.
Tony's easy. Go ahead.
Huh?
You like how I bought about 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, he's the man.
I'm the alcoholic of the group. I go between Long Island's and just straight up bourbon and Coke. Drinks of choice right there.
I got a thing for margaritas, with salt, but I don't do it too often. That's my drink.
I'm actually a beer fan, but I lived some time in Europe, so I'm kind of stuck on your European beers. I like a good Belgian beer every once in a while, something with a little flavor, a little kick. It can be darker, Guinness will work for me too. Something with a little flavor. If it tastes like a cigarette, I'm about it.